In light of additional information in emails written by Peter Mandelson, the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador to the United States. The emails show, Mr. Speaker, that the depth and extent of Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment. In particular, Mr. Speaker, Lord Mandelson's suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information. And in light of that, Mr. Speaker, and mindful, as we all are, of the victims of Epstein's appalling crimes, he has been withdrawn as ambassador with immediate effect.
Neil O'Brien.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for granting this statement, and I agree with the words of the Minister about September 11th and Charlie Kirk. But, Mr. Speaker, this is yet another extraordinary error of judgment by this weak Prime Minister. And I pay tribute to the Leader of the Opposition for yesterday securing justice for the victims of Epstein. This raises massive questions. It is not just that Peter Mandelson said that Epstein was his best pal and that he loved him. It wasn't just that he brokered a deal for him while he was Business Secretary. We now, of course, know that he was working for Epstein's early release after he was convicted. And the simple question is this. Is the Minister now saying that the Prime Minister did not know about any of this at the point where he was appointed? Don't say the boxes were ticked and the process was followed. What did the Prime Minister know at the point of his appointment? Our Minister this morning said, "My understanding was that all of the information was present." Is that correct? Did the Prime Minister know, and will the government now publish all the documents relating to Peter Mandelson's vetting? And if the Minister says he doesn't know at the time, when did the Prime Minister become aware of these revelations? Now, Peter Mandelson quietly stayed at Epstein's house while he was in prison. Mandelson now says that he was wrong to think he was innocent. That's his defence. He had pleaded guilty. So there are huge questions here. Mr. Speaker, did the State Department, the US State Department, give any warning to our government ahead of this appointment? Did the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Sue Gray, give any warning? Have any employees of Global Counsel visited our Washington embassy since his appointment? Next week is going to be the state visit. This is a huge turmoil ahead of it, and I cannot believe that the government have put our monarch in this terrible position. I am glad that Peter Mandelson has now gone. The Foreign Secretary had said that protecting women, girls and victims was her priority. How on earth did that square with the behaviour of the government over recent days, squirming and twisting to try and protect Peter Mandelson rather than the victims? Mr. Speaker, let's be clear. This is a government where you had a corruption minister having to resign over the links to corruption. You had a former police officer having to resign over having not been clear with the police. You've had a housing minister having to resign over not paying tax on a house. And now you put our ambassador to Washington in the middle of the biggest scandal in Washington. This is a weak Prime Minister with error after error of judgment.
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think the first thing that we all need to be clear across this House, and I'm sure the honourable gentleman wouldn't disagree with this, is that the victims of Epstein are at the forefront of all of our minds. He was a despicable criminal who committed the most heinous crimes and destroyed the lives of so many women and girls. Clearly, obviously, events in the last few hours. He wrote his remarks before that, but I want to reiterate what I said to him, which is that the emails show that the depth and the extent of Lord Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment. And in particular, Mr. Speaker, the suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information. Lord Mandelson has resigned. That decision has been taken, and that is a very, very clear answer to his questions.
Andy MacDonald.
Mr. Speaker. I'm sure I speak for the whole House in sending our best wishes to our colleague in Washington and Gateshead South for the appalling fire at her office overnight, and we send our very best wishes to her and her staff. May I thank the Minister for his statement. The Prime Minister has made exactly the right decision, and I think that has to be acknowledged. He's moved at pace to put that right. Don't be ridiculous. Treat it seriously.
please. It's very important. There will be a lot of people listening to what's going on in this chamber. So please, let's put some courtesies to each other. Andy MacDonald.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could I ask the Minister?
Let's talk to Chris Hope, our political editor. The bombshell announcement from the House of Commons that Lord Mandelson been sacked.
Yes, we've just been watching that urgent question there. Chris Hope to respond to this breaking news.
Well, absolutely no surprise that Peter Mandelson has lost his job. We're looking at a statement we've got from the government. It says this: in light of additional information in emails written by Peter Mandelson, the Prime Minister has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw him as ambassador. That means that Peter Mandelson has been sacked by Sir Keir Starmer. The emails show, the government says, the depth and extent of Peter Mandelson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein is materially different from that known at the time of his appointment. In particular, Peter Mandelson's suggestion that Jeffrey Epstein's first conviction was wrongful and should be challenged is new information. In light of that, the government says, and mindful of the victims of Epstein's crimes, he has been withdrawn as ambassador with immediate effect. This is absolute disaster for Sir Keir Starmer. It calls into question his political judgment that's been on the rack all week, notably at PMQs yesterday, when he frankly flailed around trying to answer questions from the Tory leader Kemi Badenoch. The question at the heart of this has been this: since those photographs first emerged in the birthday book that were prepared there, of course, by Ghislaine Maxwell, many pages there, and photographs of Peter Mandelson, some of which he was wearing a toweling robe speaking to Jeffrey Epstein. And then, of course, the emails afterwards have emerged recently, haven't they, about he was talking about this conviction that he had back in the early 2000s. What had changed there? It looked like a political issue here. Clearly, the government had asked Peter Mandelson what else can emerge, and now the government is saying that it wasn't aware of the nature of this relationship and how deep it went, and the remarks made, of course, to him as well. But deeply embarrassing for the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Our political editor in Westminster on this extraordinary breaking news that Lord Mandelson has been sacked. Michael Gove still with us. Michael Gove, editor of The Spectator. We were saying just before you came on air, he will go today.
Yes.
I don't think we quite expected that to be announced in the Commons.
No. I think, to be fair to the Tories, because the Conservative Party is obviously not getting plaudits at the moment, I think the fact that this was announced in the way that it was is down to Neil O'Brien, the shadow cabinet member, who brought the Foreign Office Minister to the floor of the House to answer. At that point, Number 10 will have known we've either got to stick or twist, and they will have known that it was indefensible. On the House of Commons, there would have been Labour MPs calling for Peter Mandelson to resign, and at that point, they had to make that announcement. And of course, it follows on from Kemi Badenoch having what I think most people will agree was one of her best performances at Prime Minister's Question Time yesterday, skewering Starmer on this, and the debate will now move on to the Prime Minister's own judgment.
Which is appointing. What does this also mean for the state visit? Mandelson is the bridge between the government and the President of the United States, a key player in all of this.
Undoubtedly. And I think one of the things in the Prime Minister's mind and those around him will have been thinking this as well, is that next week, to the day, the Prime Minister and Donald Trump will have an hour-long press conference at Chequers. If Peter Mandelson had still been in place then that would have turned into a circus. Actually, it would have been the Circus Maximus. It would have been a gladiatorial contest in which people would have been queuing up to spear and to knife Starmer for his judgment. So now, Number 10 must hope that with this issue out of the way, they'll be able to concentrate on the technology deal that they hope to do, which the Spectator is writing about this week, our political editor Tim Shipman is writing about. But still, the aroma of this scandal will hang over it, and it will be the case that not just Epstein, but also Peter Mandelson will be ghosts at the royal banquet next week.
So these emails have been excruciating as they've emerged, really conjuring up a picture of an intimate relationship, not a casual acquaintance, not a business relationship, but a real intimate friendship between the two. And what the minister seemed to be saying there in response to the urgent question was that the depth and extent of this relationship had not been known about when Mandelson was appointed the ambassador last year. Do you think these questions about Starmer's judgment will carry on, or will a line be drawn under it now?
Yes, they will. And it's striking that there is another Labour peer called Lord Glassman, who of course appears on GB News, a very smart guy, who, before Peter Mandelson's appointment, sent a memo to Number 10 pointing out explicitly that Peter Mandelson's appointment was high risk and explicitly saying that the Labour government was seen as on the side of paedophiles, and it was linked very broadly with the rape gang scandal, but he made the point then that the Epstein connection, and there was only a limited amount of information in the public domain at that point, would imperil Mandelson's ability to do his job effectively. And I think that Lord Glassman will now be saying to Number 10, look, you were warned. And the question, therefore, is why did they dismiss the warning from one of their own? Because Maurice Glassman is someone who wants a Labour government to succeed.